The dumbbell chest press is a fantastic exercise. I would consider it a staple for most people. Great for working the pectoralis major. That's going to be our primary muscle that's activated during the movement. Our secondary muscles will mostly be our anterior deltoid as well as our triceps brachii. As far as the joints are concerned, we have our shoulder joint, our elbow joint, and our wrist joint. The wrist joint's really important, helps with stabilization. The elbow joint helps our arm go from flexion to extension, and our shoulder joint just helps our arms go up and down, right? Dumbbell chest press is great because it actually requires multiple upper body parts. A lot of people think it's just the pectoralis major, but again, we are hitting that anterior delt and triceps brachii, which is awesome. So, starting position for the dumbbell chest press, we want to make sure that our feet are on the ground firmly, and our shoulders, our butt, and our head are attached to the bench. So that means you can actually have a slight bend in that lower back, which is great. We're gonna bring the weight slightly, I like to say below the nipple line, and we're gonna really control that eccentric on the way down. Pause for a second, and I like to say explode, but control the weight during that concentric or that pressing. And make sure that we're inhaling on that eccentric, nice hold, and then exhale during the concentric. So make sure that you keep your thumbs wrapped around the dumbbells. I like to have the weights sort of on my knees. And as I lean back, especially with heavier dumbbells, it's nice to kick them up into position. I'm retracting my scapula, and I'm pressing them. So again, my wrists are staying straight up, and I'm controlling that eccentric, big deep breath, really feeling that stretch getting nice and deep, and then exhaling on that concentric. And then when I'm done, I allow the weights to throw me forward. Fantastic movement. The single arm dumbbell row is a fantastic exercise. Our primary muscle that's activated during it is actually our latissimus dorsi. Secondary muscles will be our rhomboids, our trapezius, our rear delts, our biceps brachii, and our brachialis, and then a little bit actually of our rectus abdominis and our glutes. That's gonna help us stabilize and keep that spine nice and neutral. The joints that we're using is our scapulothoracic joint, our elbow joint, and our shoulder joint. Again, really important on this exercise, keep that spine nice and neutral, right? We don't want to be rounded. This needs to be nice and straight, if you will. So I'm going to demonstrate this on a bench. However, I think you can do it with a very similar technique off the rack or even off something like a table, which is awesome. It's very flexible as long as you have one of those things. So our setup, I like to lay the dumbbell by the side. We're going to have one arm placed firmly on the bench and our knee placed firmly on the bench. I like to have my foot hanging off the back as well. That just, again, helps stabilize, keep that spine nice and neutral. We're gonna lift our glutes and straighten our back, right? Keep that spine neutral, very important. And we're gonna push our shoulder blade down and our eyes are gonna remain down. This is really important because it's gonna help our back be that pulling movement. I like to say, imagine your hand's a hook, and your arm is a tool to connect the weight to your back, right? We're gonna do plenty of curls to grow the biceps. Yes, our biceps are a secondary movement here, but I'm not rowing to build big biceps, right? We're rowing to build nice, wide lats. So, just like our dumbbell chest press, I wanna wrap my hand firmly around the dumbbell. My knee is gonna be firmly on the bench. My arm is gonna be stabilizing here. Some people like to hang it off the front. I like to have it firm, doesn't make a huge difference. As far as our breath control, I want to exhale during the concentric, so the way up, and then inhale as we get that nice deep stretch on the way down. And imagine you're pulling with your shoulder blade. Again, that's gonna help not turn this into a primary bicep movement. Yes, our biceps are getting hit, but that's not why we're doing this movement. So, firm, eyes down, thumb nice and wrapped around. Again, exhale on the concentric. Nice and lower. Control that eccentric. Get that big stretch. I'm feeling it in my back. And that is going to help build some wings. The dumbbell lateral raise is easily one of my favorite exercises. Fantastic. The wider we can make our shoulders, the smaller our waist is going to look. So very aesthetic, if you will, exercise, and also really helps with shoulder mobility and just overall strength. A lot of people have shoulder problems, so the stronger we can make the lateral head of the shoulder, and I guess the anterior head of the shoulder, the less shoulder problems we're going to have. So again, in my opinion, sort of a staple. Primary muscle is going to be the lateral head, lateral part of the deltoid. That's going to help us abduct that arm, right? Or bring it away from the midline of the body. The secondary is going to be our supraspinatus. That's going to help with that abduction. The serratus anterior, so actually the front of the delt. A lot of people think it's just the side delt because lateral, right? But we're actually going to get some anterior or front delt, which is great. And our rhomboids, that's going to help us sort of stabilize that scapula, which is very important. So the joints, we have our scapulothoracic joint, our elbow joint, and our shoulder joint. So this exercise, the setup is very important. A lot can go wrong, but don't let that deter you from doing it, because with good form, it's actually a very low risk movement. So we're gonna grab the dumbbells, again, just like our other two movements, with our thumb nicely wrapped around. We're gonna rotate the dumbbells in, almost at an angle towards our midline, and hold them at the starting position just in front of the hips. I think that's really important. We don't wanna be sort of bent over here. I don't wanna start out all the way here, right? Because we're limiting that range of movement. So the starting position is very important. We're gonna bring the elbows up to the side. Some people say that you shouldn't go over the elbow. However, there is a lot of new science that's saying the higher you can go, the better. But I think for most people, we just want to keep it sort of almost like we're in a T shape here. I say over time, as you progress with this movement, don't be afraid to go a little bit higher. But again, that's only when our form is absolutely perfect. So, don't let our chest fall, I think, is the biggest mistake I see people making with this movement. So we're going to wrap our thumbs firmly around. My dumbbells are at an angle, band right in front of the hips. Now, with this exercise, you're gonna wanna swing. Why? Because it's hard. Momentum kills your gains here, right? We wanna stay nice and strict, retract that scapula, and I'm lifting with my shoulders, right? I'm thinking shoulders. Make that T, get that nice isometric hold, control that eccentric, and again, just like the other movements, exhale during the concentric, inhale during the eccentric, right? So, and that is gonna help build some nice boulder shoulders.